going screen share, I think.
Yeah, no, but I wanted to see if it goes live or not. All right, sir, we're live.
Hey, buddy, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. Did some, depression handling with the wife because both kids are now not trick or treating with us anymore, and so Halloween is her big holiday. She makes costumes and all that good stuff, and so we had a little bit of sadness here in the household. And so rather than sit here and hand out candy all night to kids, we actually went to where we always took the kids and, saw friends and family and hung out and watched the kids back and forth. And while our kids were off doing their own thing. So.
Oh, well, look, at least they're still, they're at that age where it crosses over from going for candy to lighting bags of poop on fire. So, it's kind of good to see them sort of retreat a little bit from that.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
absolutely.
It's always the hardest, I think, for the moms to handle
Yep.
or deal with, just for a whole variety of reasons that we don't need to go into here. But, so it's cool that you're there to support her at that time.
Yeah, it was, we didn't do anything last year because of COVID. So she didn't even get to prepare for it, and all of a sudden it was like the kids are like, we're not going trick-or-treating with you guys this year. So she was a little bummed, but she got over it. And we had a nice time watching all the little ones play. So it was good.
Oh, so your kids ditched you.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys, oh, okay. So what'd they do?
So one was at a party and one was at a friend's house, did their neighborhood, and then all their friends came over and had a little mini party. And and then my son was at a party here locally, but then, they all went trick-or-treating, the 15-year-olds. So we were not invited along for that excursion. So.
Well, next year you'll probably get to graduate to them being in Ubers and having parties at their friend's house. Which is sort of where I am these days. But, it's tough because you see, a lot of people freak out about the Uber thing, but I just keep going, hey, man, at least nobody's drinking and driving.
Exactly.
And, when I was a kid, there was quite a bit of drinking and driving going on. And,
Me too.
There were a couple of casualties, people who ended up dead over it in high school through college. So I always kind of go back to that, when I have like my ex-wife sending me messages that talk about, Uber drivers killing people or sexually assaulting passengers or something. I'm like, well, where's the stats on the Uber drivers that save somebody's life? I mean, I'm sure there's stats on that too. But we tend to want to focus it on the worst possible outcome. And so, it's just tough is all I'm getting at. And you have to, I think a lot of people that rely on the smartphones for kind of their digital leash or tether or ability to see what their kids are doing or something, it's not helping them because people just get frantic because they really don't have any control.
Exactly.
And, when I was a kid, I'd leave the house in the morning on a Saturday and I didn't come back till dinner time.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe checked in once, this is back in the olden ages, the days of landlines. But, it should happen, people got hurt, whatever, but it wasn't something that everybody was so worried about. I think having this like smartphone for parents, the different location apps and things, is that you think it's going to give you security, but in the end, all it does is make you go, what the frig is going on?
Exactly. Exactly.
So, but it's tough, but it has good things and bad things, but, so it was an exciting weekend all around. Survived it, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Well, markets are looking pretty strong. I'm pleased. Yeah. I'm happy with where things are right now. I saw that little bit of dip started last night, but recovered nicely, and we're just bouncing around now. We might have a little sideways time here, but I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I kind of, you start going with those psychological tendencies, and you start looking for something. Oh my God, it's not up 12% today. What's wrong?
Yep.
And you just got to kind of do a reality check. And to me, I kind of go, you look at all the underlying buy orders on all the major currencies, cryptocurrencies, and there's so much support there.
Yep.
So I don't see there being, now with the institutional guys getting pretty heavy in the market. I saw like that Alphabet, one of their funds, made a big investment in the owner of Greylock or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And you look at the indices out of Fortune. I mean, this is mainstream finance is really looking at this and moving money. So
yeah,
I can't see. There's one argument that says, well, could some group get together and short this stuff down to create better entry points? Maybe, but at the same time, the other groups are all, going on them. So it's not like it's in a vacuum. Everybody's making decisions. They're all trying to take everybody else's money.
Yep.
So I'm not too worried about that. I'd like you. I'm waiting to see what is the thing that pushes it to the next level. The old price discovery mode.
Yep.
And it's coming. It's just a matter of when. So I noticed a lot of activity in Curve and Phantom and Define and Rowan, the syphilis chain and Cosmos and and all. My Cosmos actually is a little off, but Polka Bridge was like doubled on the weekend, I think.
Nice.
So all that stuff is moving. I don't see anything. I mean, it looked like maybe. I wasn't really paying that much attention, but maybe like the Inverse, that group maybe had a tiny bit of a sell-off. I didn't see it for sure, but it just seemed like they weren't all at 1,500. I saw a little Klima sell-off too.
Yeah.
Down to like 1,500, but that just seems like normal rotation to me.
Exactly. No, look, man, I'm still just counting the earnings. I'm loving it. And so I'm still in Smart Coin. So
good. Let's hear an update there. What's going on?
So this is interesting. So I'm still at about a little more than double my initial investment in it. They did this whole thing this weekend of swapping to this new coin that they then revealed there were going to be 100 trillion of them or some ridiculous fucking number. And the interesting thing is they are working so hard on the psychology and the manipulation of people on this. And I was thinking I was going to just play the game exactly as they wanted me to the rest of the way through. And I was like, you know what? It doesn't sit right with me. So I have been, since the swap, and look, I got a ton of nice bonuses from it. I got double the tokens, et cetera, et cetera. But when I started thinking about it, I thought, look, I went from a coin with 1 billion total supply minus some burns to 100 trillion. So my bonuses of whatever they turned out being, like 225% over what I had from the swap, they're not shit.
With like, this dilution. Yeah, with the dilution.
It's like nothing. Now, thankfully, I maintained value. The price hasn't moved at all. They have all these new stipulations built into the system. If you pull out of the liquidity pool, there's a 7% withdrawal fee. They're trying to keep people in. They're trying to keep people from. Their big thing is to get people to stop compounding, right? Or if you compound, to add more money to it. Well, no, I'm not putting any more money into this thing. I'm up. And so my approach now is I've screwed the game. My wallet is not going to hit their big reputation score, which they keep hammering about because they're trying to get people to, not actually sell any of it. And I'm just compounding the shit out of it like 10 times a day and staking it up. So my goal is this. I'm going to get to 3x on the money. I'm going to cash out half of that. Okay. And take my profit, take my original out, and leave the rest in and stake the shit out of it and keep compounding it. If it goes up in value and shoots up, woo, great. Beautiful. If not, I've actually made money and I'm happy camper. So
hell yeah. You get the ROI, you get your principal off, and then you let the rest ride.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what you want to do. You want the money to work for you. And then you look back again a couple of weeks or days or hours or minutes, and all of a sudden what you left is triple. And you're like, well, fuck it. Let's take half again.
Yeah. Now they're up to 32 million TVL, which bumped the APR up to 3,200, but that's a big difference from the APRs they had on the other one. And look, I think the problem is this expanded supply is just insanity. And, they're like screaming about how they're burning 70 million tokens. I'm like, dude, that's like pocket change for the number of tokens you have coming out of this thing. This thing's like it's insane. So, So the APR isn't great. And I just said to myself, like, this is stupid. I can be making much more money in a project I trust, like Ohm or Wonderland, and have those serious APRs and maybe stake my time from this investment into the Grim pool at 858% interest APY, instead of hoping that these guys are going to fulfill this big grand vision that they claim they have. Right. So,
Yeah.
And the other thing that got me worried was they had so many problems with the swap. Like they had to delay the no sell bonuses. The people that didn't sell bonuses didn't work right. And they had to manually have people submit Google Forms. I'm like, this doesn't feel big brain to me. This just doesn't feel like we've got it all together. It almost feels like we're just making shit up as we go. So I could be wrong. They could be, completely legit and have their shit together, but I have decided not to be a follower of the manipulation and just go my own way. So, right now it's I'm claiming 675 a day. So a few more days, I'll be at 3x. I'll take it off the table, put that into Ohm or Time, and let the rest ride, and I'll keep compounding it, see what happens.
Well, it could be like a feeder for like, bets on those or investments on those other ones. So if you're taking like free money and then betting it somewhere else, then it's like free money at 1,000%.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, I think the warning sign to me on this one, Smarter, was just if you go from $1 billion to 100 trillion. I mean, what's that? Like, it's got to be at least 99% dilution. So,
yeah, exactly. It's nuts that they pick that number is nuts. But
so you do all this other shit like tightening down rewards and having this clusterfuck of a swap, and it all distracts from the fact they just diluted everybody 99%.
Yeah, exactly.
And so to me, that's like tells me it's time to start booking those profits.
Yeah. Well, and I think the critical error they made was not jacking the APR out of the gate, right? And they started at 1,600%, which is insanity. The fact that I'm actually saying 1,600% APR is too low tells you about how insane everything we're doing is right now. But, relative to what they were giving people previously and the dilution, it's really low, So I'm not sticking around for 10 phases.
No, you're always looking at the risk of, are all these people full of shit? I mean, and that's kind of the thing. A lot of these models I look, and of course you play them out 20 years. There's a lot of question marks out there.
Exactly.
But when do those question marks materialize or manifest? I don't know. So to me, these are worth doing something because there could be an innovation later on that changes the back end of these models.
Yeah. Well, what was interesting, the other thing that I was like, please guys, when they said they wanted to surpass Olympus DAO and TVL, which is $4 billion right now, with this token that has absolutely no utility, no use, no nothing, and is totally admitted to be essentially, a Ponzi or something where the time's going to run. Somebody's going to be left holding nothing.
So it's a game theory exercise.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Look, and I love that kind of stuff. That's why I decided to play along and see how it goes. But now I'm like, you know what? I'll take that. It's not a ton of money. I'll take that money out and I'll make more money on it, and I'll keep staking it in the projects I actually believe in, and we'll take it from there. So,
well, it's kind of like when we were talking to Calculator Guy the other day, and he only does the stable coin pools, but he said he didn't do platforms where you got the reward in, say, the native token.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm thinking, maybe you don't want to accumulate that token. I get that. But at the same time, if the yield's 1,500%, you just sell the token, buy the token you want. So to me, I think that, this is what you're doing here. It's another vehicle to create something that can be exchanged for something you want.
Exactly.
And so you're playing the game theory, both with the game, but also with the other participants.
Yep.
And that's where I think these things get really, really interesting. When we get to these end games, it's, I can't help but draw analogs to that show Squid Game or whatever.
Oh man,
you're just like, wait, well, if there are, it's kind of intriguing because you start thinking about things like this one, Smarter Coin, and you start thinking, okay, so they just took 100 people in the game and expanded it to 10,000 people.
Right.
So how does all that fresh meat change the game? In this, it's the same thing here. So I think a lot of this stuff is going to have some very interesting rollouts. It sort of reminds me of, those NFT projects where things are kind of secured or backed by some other currency.
Yeah.
How that plays out. So kudos to you, man.
I'm having fun with it. So that at least is going on. It was, while I was watching lacrosse this weekend, it was fun to just keep compounding and kind of knowing that I didn't care that, I'm not going to get whatever rewards no sell wallets get, but I'm still making my money and making sure I get out. So,
well, here you are. You're Brad, the lax dad, stacking sats.
That's great. That's great. I just got off an interview. Remember when we talked about Revest?
Yes.
So just got off an interview with the founder that's going up on the pod next week, and really, really impressive, this project, and some of the use cases they're playing with, but there may be a use case for Kilroy. We started talking about it at the end of the episode, and he actually has some developers that we're talking about something somewhat similar. So there may be something in there for us, Joe. I'll let you know how that goes. Yeah. But this platform is really cool, right? And essentially his argument is this: we're taking things that shouldn't be fungible and we're making them, and we're using fungible tokens for it, right? So the idea is, and their first use case is time locks, right? Or performance locks. So you're starting a new project and you want the team to be seen as being vested, and you want the venture capitalists who are investing in you to be seen as being locked up so people don't feel like they get dumped on. And so you can go into their system through their interface. You don't have to be a programmer, and you can lock up those tokens and say, okay, Joe gets his 1 million tokens if price gets to X, or say if market cap gets to X, or time gets to this date, right? And so, and it's provable, right? And all of these tokens are being locked up in an NFT. So you could put a bundle of tokens together, whatever. But his first strategy with this, and I think it's really smart, is he's out building relationships with angel funds and venture capitalists to get them to have their projects use this for the vesting, which I think is a really smart approach and strategy they're going with. They've got 3 projects on board right now. Mm-hmm. But here's the cool thing about it. Let's say you're a team member and you're vested out 4 years on these tokens, right? But somebody gets sick, or you're having a baby and you need the money. Well, guess what? You can sell the NFT at a discount, right? So there's all kinds of secondary market shit you can do now, and you can sell the locked up to someone that thinks that a project's going to have greater value later at a discount, get your cash out, and the lock is still there on those original tokens. So people who are participating in the project don't have to worry about their being sold. The other side of it is developers go through hell writing up lockup scripts that actually work well. It's a real pain in the ass with ERC20 tokens to do it. With this system, there's nothing to write up, right? But they have a full API. They have all of that. I love the secondary market stuff. I love the applications to in real life. So you win a lawsuit, you can sell the proceeds locked up in an NFT to somebody that wants to invest in them, but you get your cash now, which is common in real life now, right? Mm-hmm. But this system makes it automated and makes it faster and easier. Everybody gets what they need right away. You don't need to deal with any paperwork. Did he pay me? Yes. Okay. The NFT went out, right? Now it's in there. You could bundle up investments into these. Let's say you think that, you have a great eye for an index, and you bundle up a set of tokens together and sell them on the open market, whatever. There's just a ton of applications of this, of this tech. And I really like it. I haven't seen anything else like this. and I'm, pretty impressed with him. The interesting thing is he has a background in, he's a mechanical engineer. This is like the third mechanical engineer I've met that is leading a crypto project.
What's this guy's name again?
His name is Rob Montgomery.
Rob Montgomery. Okay.
They are now, that was the other innovation. So here's the cool thing that they're doing with theirs. And I said, dude, that's a whole use case by itself. They're taking people's locked. So let's say you want to stake the Revest token, right? You get all of the revenue that comes from fees from people setting these up goes back to people staking the Revest token, right? So if you lock up for 12 months, you get more. If you lock up for 90 days, you get more. And I said, well, that's an entire use case by itself, because now projects that want to pay higher gains but want to keep tokens locked up, if you could stake these NFTs and earn more because of the staking in a separate Revest NFT, now people can come in, feel great about the fact that they're staking in this project, lock them up for a year, but also know they have an out if they want to sell it, right? They don't cash out and unlock those tokens. They just sell the NFT to somebody else. So based on future earnings, right? If you know that over X period of time, this staked token based on the APR is going to earn X number of tokens, then you can say, hey, pay me this much at a little bit of a discount. And you get out, you've still earned whatever you've earned. And then the guy that inherits it now gets it. Well, I think that's a great application for projects and DEXs for staking.
Well, it does two things. It does, the dilemma that you brought up in the past. We talked about it in the context also of 6 months lockups and IPOs where everybody starts dumping.
Right.
And so to me, it's pretty hard for someone like the Klima guys. The issue there is there were some people that were in at like $1.
Right.
So when it's at 3,500, how are you not dumping that?
Right. Right.
So they dump it. But if you lock it up like this, all of a sudden you get the higher return. So you have one more step in the dump. And then when you sell, if you need to sell it on the secondary market, it's probably going to be a little bit more of a discount than we anticipate at this point. But there is a secondary market.
Exactly.
So it gives, if you want to take, it's kind of like when I look at the Geist tokens. Okay, I could claim all the vested stuff I want at a 50% haircut. I'm still up at that point, even if I take a 50% haircut.
Right.
But if I just let it sit for 90 days, all of a sudden I get it all.
Exactly.
So there's all these decisions you have to make. And this just adds another tool to our tool belt on how we can, preserve value, still get the big upside, but not have the downside volatility that, tends to come with crypto.
Yeah, I think this is a nice play, kind of in the vein of, bonding with with Olympus DAO, and all of the projects that are trying to bring more stability to their project. And what I could see is an entire project based on these offerings that they give to users, to project members, to team members, and to VCs, where you build the secondary market just for this, right? So you build a secondary market where there's some 2% fee per sale or whatever. So instead of selling them all on OpenSea, have a market that's focused exclusively on basically private equity or private tokens that people need to cash out, right? So you could have an entire project around that concept.
Yeah, it's difficult all around. Those exist, say, in the private equity market, traditional finance right now.
Right.
But, there's no liquidity. You take, it's basically almost peer-to-peer, you're being matched. So it's tough. It's there, but it's tough. So this is an improvement in my mind. Now, the other thing I like about this, and this was one of the things that really drew me to crypto at the very beginning, and, the smart contracts elements, was that, a lot of times, I do a lot of, strategy consulting and investment banking type stuff, mostly M&A, a little bit of money, across tech and crypto and everything, as you know. Well, let's say you do a deal with someone and maybe you did the key matchmaking or you did something that got the deal to close. And then 3 months later, everybody's like, well, and I'm just making up numbers for the dialogue, but let's say they're like, oh, 1 million's too much for a 5-minute phone call. So you go back with well, you're not paying for the 5-minute call. You're paying for the 30 years it took me to learn how to make that 5-minute call.
Exactly.
And of course, they all go bullshit, and they go, "Well, look, I'll give you 700 right now, or we can keep talking about this." And so, you have to take the 700 at that point, because you don't want to fight it for years. Because at the end of the day, people just don't pay.
Exactly.
And so you usually have to take the money. So when you have these types of vehicles, like I'm looking particularly this Revest one, you can put the terms of an engagement in there, like your retainer fees. You get 1 ETH a month, and on the 30th, and you get this fee on this instrument if it happens, and so all this shit happens automatically then,
right?
And you don't have to then go to the guy that you work for or gal that you work for and be like, "Where's my money?" Your money already showed up.
Yep.
And so
even better, like in the exact kinds of scenarios you're talking about, let's talk about M&As that have now moved into crypto, right? Yep. So now it's an M&A where a token acquisition is happening, right? And a project is taking over all the tokens in a project or buying them from the founders, whatever. Now your deal, let's say your deal is X%, right? And they want to get 10 million for it, right?
Yeah.
Well, you make them lock the tokens up in the NFT, and then the NFT doesn't unlock those tokens unless those 10 million tokens travel out of that other wallet, right? Or that $10 million in token. So there's all kinds of logic you could do to make this an instantaneous performance-based system, right? Where when X happens, you get your payment, right? And then there's no more of the client saying, "Nah, I'll give you 7." Right? It's because they don't have a choice now, because it's monitoring it. It's the tokens are stacked, waiting in the NFT, and those tokens come out when this happens.
Yeah. And so, makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
Because think about over the course of your career, how much time you spent with clients haggling over invoices and trying to decide, is this one totally bad? Should I just flush them? Or do I linger around because they owe me friggin' shitloads of money?
How many have we fired together?
Oh God. I mean, I can think of, it's just more than I can count. But it's fun. I love firing clients.
I do too. It's actually a good time.
It's usually right at that moment when they start questioning how much money they're paying. That's when it's about time to say, oh, okay.
Okay.
Start heading for the door. But nothing personal, any clients out there, but
yeah,
you get what you pay for.
Hopefully none of your clients now are watching.
Well, I mean, if they are, I did what I did. It is
exactly.
What it is, then. And, you can't control client execution risk. And so if you're investing in them, you're investing in them so you don't have to manage them.
Right.
If you're working for them or advising them, then you have to manage them. And that's where you get into the headaches, and where that stuff transitions is where ambiguities occur. And so things like Revest and others, when you're doing those transitions, when everybody starts reassessing, then, you have to renegotiate. You can't just unilaterally say, "Oh, here's 700, go fuck yourself."
Exactly.
You're like, you have to take it. So I think that's ideal. I also think about, you think about the NFTs in real estate, let's say, or deals that are in escrow. All those things have applications here.
Yeah.
And, now it becomes more tangible and more realistic. So, this type of stuff, I like this a lot.
Yeah, me too. I really think this project has great future in front of it. I think it's really really has a ton of potential. And I was impressed with him. His background, he taught himself programming so that he could build explosions in Minecraft that could be added to servers. So he was developing using Java to build explosion modules so people could have more creative and exciting explosions while playing Minecraft. And so then he took that knowledge and he built this NFT project, which was his first kind of foray into the NFT world, because he had built an explosion module in Java that was based off of chaos theory. And so then he applied that to generating these, this is called negative entropy, the project. He applied that to generating these NFTs, which are actually really cool and a lot of fun to watch, and had a lot of success selling these. So kind of one thing led to another. It's kind of interesting to watch the progressions of our minds as we progress into skills and knowledge and jobs or gigs or projects or whatever it is, right? The other big impetus for him was he was getting his doctorate in mechanical engineering, and he asked his now wife to marry him in December. And in January, he was like, holy shit, I don't have a job worth a damn because I'm working at the university. I need a way to make money. And so that was the combination of NFTs, talking investing with somebody from the traditional finance world, and having to find some revenue stream was actually how the project Revest was born. So it's interesting.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
There's another point you touched on in there that, from an M&A standpoint, which is, pretty interesting because, we tend to want to compare, say, tokens we analog it with, say, shares of stock. Some people do.
Right.
When in reality, there's I make a lot of arguments about, common stock and how it really isn't what we think it is.
Yep.
Because of preferred and debt and convertible and all those types of things that are ahead of it in the food chain in, say, liquidation scenarios, which makes it very similar to crypto in the sense that crypto has no direct tie to these enterprises other than the governance tokens.
Right.
And so as we talked about last week, the curve wars, where you have essentially three other protocol groups, Convex and I think Yearn, and what would be the third one? There's a third one in there too. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but they're all acquiring the governance token for Curve because they want to take it over or influence it and do different things with all those assets. So, that game is on in this space too. It just has to be a little bit more creative in how you define, what happens to the tokens, because, in the 2018 world, everybody was scared of these tokens because of, ICO risk and are they securities or not, and all those types of things. In this situation, that's less of a concern because I think the ICO stuff has kind of been shoveled under the rug in a lot of ways, unless you were outright. I mean, you didn't get penalized for effing up, but you get penalized for thievery.
Yeah.
And, I think that's the way, the best way to summarize it. So now when you see, how do we tackle that problem in this environment? First of all, these tokens didn't predominantly come out of ICOs. So you don't have that little taint of, someone trying to claim a regulatory position because of that. They came out of spontaneous generation or something.
Exactly.
And you don't have governance teams. You have governance, but you don't have people.
Yep.
So, how do you manage those types of large capital transactions? It's something that's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. It's definitely happening in different ways, but we just have to challenge ourselves to think about things a little bit differently.
Yeah. Well, look, you want to sell your company or project, you represent the tokeny with a bundle of equity in this NFT, and first guy to want it gets it.
Well, think about it. You could be contributing interest in some kind of digital ETFs into the NFTs, or something like that. Maybe even not crypto. Maybe there's, I'm sure there's, I don't really follow it, but I'm sure there's a bunch of like gold type proxy stuff that you could use that, you want to sell the company. Okay, here's my offer. Here's my 100 million to buy the company. Right. If you want it, download the NFT.
Exactly.
Exactly. Automatically. If you don't, well, go buy.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of cool shit about to happen in this world. I mean, it's just, every day I'm like looking at another project, talking to another project leader who's come up with something, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, man? This is like I guarantee you this is another one of those. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole of like 500 ideas around this project because there are so many possibilities. It's like Alchemix, it's like Olympus. Did you see Danielle from, I'm trying to get him on the show, Danielle from Wonderland and Abracadabra and Popsicle announced, and it's so real, I swear to God this is true. Saturday morning, I was like, I wonder if Olympus DAO could, they've got all these forks happening, and most of them are shit. of Olympus DAO, right? But what if Olympus DAO actually set up an incubator for projects utilizing the bonding mechanism in Olympus, or using Olympus Pro, that actually allowed members of the project to fund people that are using Olympus Pro for their liquidity mechanism, right? So already you've got a leg up as a stable, smarter project because of that. But you have this hardcore community that's earning a lot of tokens and earning a lot of money. Is there another mechanism that you can add to that, and you incubate and launch other projects, branching off of Olympus DAO, right? So you're feeding more value back and forth. Maybe every project is giving back a percentage to the Olympus DAO, and so the members all gain interest in it, but they can invest individually. Anyway, Danielle on Saturday night or yesterday sent out a tweet saying basically he's going to use Wonderland as an incubator for DAOs and startups, and utilize fees and funding from it to kickstart other projects that are utilizing the system, and that he's going to make some changes to the way the algorithm functions that he wants to see in it. So I think that's really interesting. I would love to see an ecosystem coming off of Olympus. Wonderland is fine as well. But I will tell everyone, as we talked about last week with Calculator Guy, there is a lot of shit projects out there basically forking Olympus DAO, and they are going to rug you. So be incredibly careful about where you're stacking that money.
Yeah. I mean, I heard there's a lot of, he mentioned it, but I've heard other people mentioning this along the way. It seems like the one that everybody's getting behind is the next one is that Rome DAO.
Yeah. Rome DAO is most legit.
That's legit.
I think. Yeah. At least according to other people, we don't know for sure.
Right. Yeah. But Zeus supposedly has been engaging in crypto and CT in different areas, talking about it in a very positive way, which is very close to an endorsement of some type, or an acknowledgement. Yeah. So that's the one I'm going to start looking at. But I still don't, me with these business models, the math, it just I just got to see it more in action myself.
Yep. No, I get it.
And I'm not talking about, there's always this thing in all of us. Is this a long hold deal or a short hold deal? And people talk about investing in some equity and holding it for 40 years. Well, I don't really do that. It'd be great if I could, but I don't want to wait 40 years. So
I'm not sure I'll be here then.
Yeah, exactly. So, so your grandkids can drive around in a Ferrari or something.
Exactly.
No, that's not what I'm here for. Yep. But the point is, if you can crush it for a year or two and maybe do 20x in a de-risk kind of environment, that's the kind of stuff I like.
Yep.
And then find the next one, take some money off the table, find the next one. So I'm still trying to figure out the math on endgame and all of these myself. It doesn't mean I'm not investing in them, because I am.
Right.
Or putting bets down on them, because I am. But I just want to, right now, I think we're all around. I think we're almost in this everything up mode is what it feels like.
Yep.
Still waiting for the BTC, ETH blow off top scenarios to then cascade down. And I think that's what makes us all kind of like, not worry too much about stuff like this at this point.
I think we have a little time. I can be wrong, but I feel like we're going to have a hype cycle through December, but who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it could go a little bit longer.
Yeah, definitely.
My read. I mean, I try to think, what is the catalyst events coming up? I mean, obviously now there's the spot ETF discussion, but one's already done, so it tells me that one's going to get done eventually. So I don't want to get hung up on dates and things. It's just it's coming.
Yep.
The money's pouring in. Just get where the money's going to go.
Yeah.
And kind of you can wait a little bit. But also there's the short-term stuff. Polka Bridge up over the weekend like 90%. I take profits at that point. I don't dump it all, but I'm like, screw it, let's get the principal off.
Yep.
And then load that into something else. But you got a segment in your head. Not you, I'm saying to everybody listening, but short-term, medium-term, long-term. And so these 63,000% APY deals to me are, not long-term in my head, because, I've never gotten to the, the end of the 12 months with it, where it's all still there. And we're going for that. Like,
exactly.
going for 30 trillion or something.
Yeah.
Because you just don't make it that far. Because, you know, you get to this point where you're like, well, that's life-changing money. That pays for college. That pays for houses. And you're like, fuck it. I'm taking money off the table. I don't have a need psychologically to, you know, become a trillionaire or chase that type of dream.
Yep.
So I take wins when I can, and I recommend it, you know, kind of everyone think that way as well in the way that works best for you.
Yep. So evidently my friends at CalSwap launched a new beta of a product called Barn. And I was watching Calculator Guy last night. Everybody check him out. Great videos on how-tos. And he was watching this and he ran an example. The video, I'll put the video in the podcast notes, but he ran an example of a transaction on Uniswap or somewhere else. Gas fees were $120, and in CalSwap they were 60 something. So I think what's happening is the guys at CalSwap Gnosis, which is owned by Gnosis, have finally figured out or have pushed enough volume into CalSwap that the peer-to-peer component of their system is kicking in. So the entire concept behind CalSwap is, and I have an interview with the founder of this project on the podcast, but the entire concept of this project is that eventually they build up this. It's not peer-to-peer like order book peer-to-peer, but there's a lot of components to this. But essentially, there are these series of bots that are able to go out and find trades that match or can be converted and matched to the trade you're trying to make without having to go on chain and paying the higher gas fees. So then what you're paying is the bot owner, creator, who found the better deal. So anyway, it was like half the gas fee, 120 down to like $60. I think it was like 40% difference, the numbers specifically. But if they're doing this, I'm going to be spending a lot more time on CalSwap. I already do a number of layer one trades on CalSwap as it is, but it's impressive. The other thing that I love about CalSwap, you don't have to have any ETH in your wallet to do the swap. They take care of, you just tell them, I've got USDC, I want to buy some sushi or whatever it is. Yeah, they embed the fee into and take it from what you're providing and give you the end result of what you're getting. And I told him, I think when I met him and interviewed him, one of the problems they're going to have is if people are comparing, because if you're looking at CalSwap and the ETH isn't being paid, the gas isn't being paid with ETH, and you're looking over here and the ETH fee is X, you're ending up with less of the token you're buying on CalSwap because it's utilizing what you're paying with, right? Instead of the ETH on top of it. So anyway, I highly recommend it. Great product. It came about because Gnosis, the team at Gnosis, one of the engineers at Gnosis thought of AMMs before almost everybody else, or about the same time as everybody else. And they decided not to build it because they saw the problem with front running. And so this was developed because they wanted to solve the problem with front running. So you can't get front run here. So anyway, cool project. I was cool to see Calculator Guy talking about the fact that their new Barn, so it's barn.calswap.exchange, is where you can see those lower gas fees, lower transaction fees being taken out of your trade.
Damn, I thought you were teeing up a partnership deal with my company PigX.
No.
With my,
but, you never know. Maybe they'd be into it.
Yeah, no, I mean, look.
How's your pigs doing?
That's down. But, that was a big old, it turned out that big rise a few weeks ago was, one of those ones where somebody jumps in and buys at market.
Oh.
And, the spread was, people were selling at 19.5 cents and people were offering to buy at like 2.25 cents.
Yeah.
So they came in and just went
somebody,
market. Yeah.
Somebody I bet somewhere has a list of all of those wallets that jump in stupid and at those big giant chunks, and probably airdrop them a few tokens to get their interest and attract them over to their next project.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Go for the big.
It's the stupid money list.
Yeah, not the little stupid money list, the big stupid money list. kind of like the doctor and lawyer money. Nothing personal, guys.
But historically, there's truth in every generalization there.
Yeah. So when you're pitching your deal to the other guys, in reality, they're really pitching you, and you just haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I'm spending a lot more time on Avalanche and Phantom.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do a lot on Phantom. AVAX, I just haven't, I haven't seen anything over there I really wanted other than Wonderland.
Yeah.
And with the AVAX token being around 65-ish right now, with 5X since October, I think, or I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm not really willing to plop a bunch down on AVAX right now.
Yeah.
Cosmos was that for me, but with Cosmos, it has another problem. You need another wallet, Klepper or something like that. So I'm just content to sit in that, Rowan Atom pool for that. I'm focusing on Phantom.
Yeah.
So, to me, there's so many things there to do that are just like Polygon. And with DeFi now having 4 good pools over there on Phantom, mainly like, if I remember right, FTM Define, maybe Define USDT. And I thought Matic was in one of them for some reason, but I might have not remembering right. But now they're coming to Phantom too.
Yep.
So, I went back in and bought some more spirits, because I had dumped that a few weeks ago. I bought back into Spirit Swap just because it's at the right range for me, so where I effectively swung trade it. But, now you're going to have Spooky Swap, Spirit Swap, and Define over there.
Did you see the Define was up 30%?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, Router's up, Define's up. That's all been just cranking today. So, yesterday, today. So to me, I'll be a little careful in those Define pools just because I don't want to get IL'd out of a bunch of, tokens.
Yeah.
So, that's why with the PBR one on Define, I pulled that one down and moved over to there's a pairing on QuickSwap with PBR and USDT.
Right.
So I moved over into that one just because the PBR token, was that PBR?
No, this is Define.
Yeah. PBR looks the same as better, if not better. But, just to isolate that risk. Define partnered in a pool with Router, I'm fine with because they're tied together. Define with Curve, I'm fine with right now.
PBR on Poly? On layer 1?
A QuickSwap. Poly.
No, I'm just looking at price.
Yeah, we should be all around.
Oh, yeah. Similar.
Yeah.
Shit.
So that's why I moved off of
265% since the 13th.
Yeah. So that's why I have that paired with a stable coin now, just because I want the straight up yield.
Yeah.
At 2,500%, I think, on a QuickSwap right now.
Sure.
And, I just flip that quick into PBR every day.
Nice.
So it's more than I was getting off the other pool by 5 times, off of the Define one. So it seemed like the right move.
Yeah, that's good.
Because these are starting to kind of move. And, if Define's not keeping up, then you start getting that impermanent loss near-term situation that I don't like. But, Curve's the same one. Curve was up over 5. Now it's at 430. I mean, I was buying more. It's in a pool, but the pool's just throwing off so much Define. And with Define going up, like I remember back in the day with those Azuki pools when Azuki was at $2. And you're looking at the pool and you're pulling down like 1,400 a day off of that, And, of course, now we know Azuki's at 7.5 cents. So those numbers are a lot less. But with Define, I see something going here where, I think that token can blow wide open at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know what day is that number, $20? Is that 10, 15? I don't know, 7, whatever. It's all good. But the thing is, you don't want it making those big moves paired against one like Curve that's not moving.
Right.
Right. Because then you end up with less.
Yeah.
You end up with less Define, and you want more if it's going up. So, think through Google some videos on impermanent loss. There's advantages and disadvantages, but mainly it's short term.
Yep.
So if you're holding something for 3 to 6 months in a pool, don't even worry about it. But if stuff is really moving near term, like this chart, then you want to see how that impacts the one it's paired against and adjust accordingly. Right. But yeah, lots of good pools. I mean, the Rowan, the PBR, Matrix Swap, Router, Divine. There's so much good stuff out there right now. I just don't look at anything new because my hands are full. I mean, with the Matic stuff too, it's kind of like an Aave and Curve. I don't know where else to go other than up, to BTC and ETH, which is what I've kind of been doing a little of too, taking some of these earnings and just going straight into BTC to try to add some there because I still believe that those blow off top rallies are coming.
What the fuck is this?
What is it?
WETH at 124% daily. It's loading.
Is that Geist?
No. That has to be wrong. I think Multifarm is still having some issues.
I love it. Farmersonly.com. They just don't get it.
Yeah, but where is that? Where's that ETH at 124% daily?
I saw some interesting stuff on Sushi Swap. If Mana, the Decentraland one, 228% paired with ETH or with WETH. Idle, I don't know what that is, but 468%. I mean, Sushi Swap to me is if you don't have Sushi and Matic, it's a great place to go because then you can get rewards in those. And in Sushi, I don't know, whatever, maybe $20, but Matic is one to me that I think it's at around $1.90, $1.85, $2 right now. That's one that can very easily be 6, 7, 8. At that level, I think I'm not too keen on it after that. But just because of the market cap size. But right now, heck yeah. And then all the Ghost is another one. Avagachi, I think. That's had the land sale last week, so everybody was in bidding on land parcels and their, what do they call it? What's their term? Metaverse, something like that. Whatever they call their little virtual world.
Metaverse, I think.
A lot of people were playing in there, so there's still stuff of it. I didn't do anything because I'm like, I don't have time to figure out another, game basically, of parcels. But I think that that was something that might make sense. We talk about those gachapon machines.
Yep.
And the permit list stuff. That's a platform where you could deploy some machines in different applications.
Exactly.
But look, USDC, USDT, stable pair, 27% on Sushi Swap. Lots of blue chippy stuff, 20 to 30%. Not quite my speed, but it's a good way to figure things out. Your stable coin.
Look at this. Farm Hero, that one we've looked at before.
Yeah.
On this Sushi with USDT pair, paying for 660% APY.
Yeah, I
put your tokens there, Joe.
Yeah, no, I
deposit those LPs for the sake of the show. Let's see it.
Here we go, baby. No, I'm a little risk averse a lot of times at this stage, and and by risk averse I mean Define paired with Curve at 253%.
Yes,
that I can daily compound to probably 1,800% APY.
Well, but look, it's already got $939 in liquidity, Joe. That should make you feel safe.
Yeah, let's go all in on that one. Let's just plop in 50 grand, see what happens. No. And that yield will go down to like half.
I got to tell you, I'm tempted to put $1,000 because the LP lives on Sushi. I'm tempted, man. 660 APY on WETH USDT.
I mean, why not? Go for it. See what happens. Again, what was it, APY?
That's going to be my mission in life, to get you aped into some really serious degen shit eventually.
I've done it before, but
I know.
Like I get to I don't know. I start thinking that if I go, because I tried that with borrowing money and then going in and then seeing, and I can increase the stack, but it's a lot of work.
Right.
It's a lot of stress and work trying to because you're going for yield over what the hell the token does. I still tend to always kind of, okay, they're trying to do something cool. Whether they're then are they just bullshitting, or Can they do it?
Yeah.
Can they execute? All those types of things come into play. But, when I go short term, like we're talking about now, I'm looking at something that's, let me look at Quick Swap. That's usually where I find the high APY ones. I'm looking at, remember a couple of weeks ago, these were at millions.
Right.
So I'm looking for that day to start, of course, some type of new pool day. But look, I'm looking here at, Iris paired with Rowan. Iris, I can't even remember what they do, but every time I try to remember what they do, I go look and I go, oh yeah, that's cool. So it seemed like, it doesn't seem like total bullshit.
Right.
But the number one pool there is the Polka Bridge with USDT. Of course, I'm fucking myself, but 2,420% APY.
Yeah.
I'd be all over that if I was borrowing and just looking to capture yield, because you could go ahead and drop a couple grand in and, probably assuming no token price move and PBR. If PBR goes up, obviously you get more.
Right.
But, you're looking at probably being able to peel off 0.0. Let me see, how much do I have in here? 0.05. That's like 250 plus 750. It's $10. It looks like you could pull off like $10-15 a day per grand in that one.
Nice.
So, you go borrow, a couple of grand on Aave at 7%, 4%. You go plop it in here for a couple of weeks at 2,500%.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you're going to come out ahead.
Hell yeah.
It's just a matter of, the only thing that can go really wrong is if PBR goes to zero.
Right.
It's probably going to happen. If it drops a lot, you just end up with a shitload more PBR.
Exactly.
You gotta hold that until the next upswing, but your cost, your DCA entry price is so much lower. So, you can play those games. I kind of sort of graduated from that a little bit. And I tend to like, what do I got in my wallet? What do I pair it with?
Right.
And go from there. But that's where you look, because you can do it. You can do $150 a day easy if you just play those high yields for a couple hours and get out.
Yep.
Not a financial advice, of course, just a strategy.
No. And you could also lose it. So yeah.
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 And you get hit by a bus.
pull off 9 or 10 days of that, or 7 or 8 days of that, and you've made your money back, and then you just run.
Yeah. And then you go to the next thing.
Exactly.
So
stack 10 of those. Stack 10 of those, you're clearing $1,500 a day.
Yeah. And you remember when we were kids, there was always that math exercise. I can't remember what grade it was, but would you rather have $100 today or a penny a day, or a penny per day that doubles, start with 1 penny for a year? And of course, you quickly get into that nice math that we like to talk about so much, which is like on day 364, it goes from $1 trillion to $17 trillion. But, you never get there.
Yeah.
But the idea is that that's kind of what you're, sort of playing in a lot of these. At the very beginning, you are on that path. But, I like to leapfrog. So I like to take the bump, move it to another bump, move it to another bump, and just keep eking out these little bumps up, versus, don't get me wrong, I love the 5 million X's.
Yeah.
I've never had one, but, I've definitely had some high X returns.
Yeah.
They're fun, but they're
absolutely
few and far between.
Yeah, totally.
You gotta grind it out. So, look for stuff like that if that's what you're interested in.
Yeah, I love this multi-farm. I find that some of their things are off a little bit, but it's fun to dive in here and look around for high yield stuff to play with. And if you're staking, look, if you're LPing at Sushi and you're farming over here, you've just cut your significant risk down pretty significantly. So
what's the TVL over there?
Well, that's not here. This is the one that shows you all the chains and all the things. That Farm Hero one was 100. No, I can't remember what the hell it was. It was a lot.
Yeah, I hear a lot about them. So
for ETH USDT.
So because that's something that I look at with like Crystal. I'm in that Azuki Matic pool just because I have it. At what are they paying? Like 200 and something percent. 191.
Right.
Which normally I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But the fact that I have both of those in quantity, to me, it's like a no-brainer to park it. But I don't hesitate to notice that, of all the pools, there's the biggest pools are, the crystal type pools. But there's some other ones in here that are kind of interesting, but there's not a huge amount of TVL.
Right.
So when you look at Sushi Swap and you see what, 4 billion in TVL or 8 billion in TVL, some amazingly huge number.
Yeah.
You just know that all those smart contract vulnerabilities and anything potential like that has probably been worked out already.
Exactly. Although, you got to be careful. They still have bugs. They still have issues come up. So
but my point is just that
for the most part, they're better off than the other guys.
Yes. Okay.
Exactly.
And so I get a little hesitant when I see like that I have the preponderance of the liquidity on a platform. Let's say,
when you're the whale.
Yeah, I get a little, then you start feeling like, wait, am I the whale or the sucker at this point? And so then, you pull it out when you go to sleep. So that way you don't have to worry about it,
That's beautiful.
But I do think of things like that. And I would recommend everyone do the same. I mean, it's kind of like the small ones. You got to think when the blow off top rallies happen, does that money stay there or does it get sucked out in the regular cycle and go to BTC and ETH and then come back?
And can you get out when you want to?
Yeah, because if that's what's happening and everybody's heading for the door at once, you can't.
Exactly.
You ain't going to make it. You
might as well just sit and watch your net worth drop.
And keep your dry powder ready and then come in and DCA that thing when it goes down. So because the money's going to come back into it eventually. So you have to sort of think where the capital's flowing, when it's flowing, why it's flowing, and try to get there before it gets there. That's investing 101 basically. Everybody knows it, but just think of it in these contexts too. So you don't lose the stack. Basically.
Didn't you bring up TrueFi the other day? Who brought up TrueFi the other day?
I think I brought up EasyFi or something like that.
Okay. I thought somebody brought up this TrueFi. This is interesting. I was on Multi-Farm. I think I was doing Weave. Not sure. I don't know. There was a True USDT pool, I think. I guess True is their token.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
There was something, there was some really high payment here, but I don't see it now. Anyway.
Well, it's like Geist, I don't know if you do anything in Geist over on Fashion.
I haven't done anything there yet.
It's like, it's an Aave looking thing with a little bit of Ohm in it and shit like that. And but it's like I parked in the liquidity pool some money. I mean, I think I started over there with like $1,000 and now we're up into like, more than 5. Okay. But what's happening is that, remember I jumped into Geist at like 270 and now it's at 150. It went down to like $1. I bought some more, but the liquidity pool earnings are like consistently, almost $100 a day, let's say,
nice.
Or 70 Geist. So I'm vesting those. So I'm building up these big vesting tranches that mature in January.
Right.
Okay. So if everything holds together, then that should be some nice big paydays. But I look at that and I see, TVL's, I think it's a couple billion, 1.5, 2.5 billion, something like that. Gives me some confidence. I think the fact that it's a 90-day vest cycle for the stuff I could pull it down at a 50% discount penalty right away if I want.
Right.
But I really want it to get where it's like giant paydays in January because they just keep giving so much. And, the price moves at different ways, but they keep giving the awards. The awards, I think I started out at like 1,900. I believe it's at like 1,400 now or something.
Right.
But to me, I look at that and I'm just going to keep accumulating and hope that's the one that goes.
Right.
So like a Wonderland, like an Ohm, like a Klima, like all of those. But it's not like you don't consistently come back and look at it.
Exactly.
So I never leave this stuff. I mean, if I can manage to get it into my like throwaway wallet, as I call it, which is, all the shit that I got like 10,000 of that didn't do what I thought it was going to do or whatever, or 50,000 of or 100,000. I just leave it there. And then maybe it turns into something in a couple of years.
What would be fun? If you had one of those revest NFTs and you just dumped all those in there. And then after you've got like 30 different tokens in there, you sell it on the market.
I like that idea.
That'd be fun.
That's really cool.
It's like the grab bag, like at the store, it's like you grab a bag. It's got a bunch of different shit in it for $5 or whatever. And you may get a winner out of the mix.
Well, that could also think about if you incorporated like the gotcha pawn machine concept, the spinning concept, or the award concept.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Where you dump all this sort of, one of the NFTs might be the, 20,000 tokens of Acropolis or whatever that's been sitting there forever. And the other might be Polydoge.
Yeah.
And the other might be Encryption or whatever.
That's fun.
And so then people come in and they're spinning for something and they all have different values. So you get, obviously some are more valuable than others.
That's a lot of fun, Joe. I think we have another idea.
Now, all we can do is we have to figure out a way to make it inflationary and deflationary at the same time. So as supply goes up, price goes up. That's the new math.
That's the new math.
All right, buddy. Anything else today,
man? That's it, man. I got to roll. Have a great day. I'll chat with you later. Thanks for watching, everybody that did. Hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Only play with what you can lose.
Yeah.
Do not get wrecked. Love y'all. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks.
Bye-bye.